yourself into, because the message here is called, what do you need to lose in order to gain your inheritance? And so it's going to get deep, but like I said, it's not for everybody. So first I want to start off by saying my personal testimony. Many people wonder, well, how did you end up being where you are today? Some of you are very aware of the fact that I used to work as a registered nurse. I still have a registered nurse's license. And I did it for 5 years. Prior to that, I worked in healthcare for a very long time. That's the only thing that I ever knew, was caring for people. And so within the past 5 years, it's been rocky all my life, but the past 4 or 5 years of my life, things really started to shift. Now, you all know we're in the age of Aquarius. And so during this time, many of the chosen seed had to go through some major changes. I also want to say, before I get into this, one of the reasons why I ended up doing this particular message at this time is because during my sleep, when I was having a dream, I don't remember most of the dream, but I remember seeing flames, like just flames that went up. I don't remember the dream though. And so this morning, I was woken up out of my sleep around 3 a.m. and I laid in a bed and I had a vision in my awakened state. And it was literally flames going up. But as the flames started to simmer down, it was a bunch of gold. And so I was like, okay, there's something to this fire. So I laid there and I was going, speaking to the Most High, to my spiritual team, gaining an understanding. And I started receiving all of these uploads. And I was told that you have to completely clear out, burn out everything in order to receive your inheritance. And so it was a message for me, and this is why I'm coming with my personal testimony, but it's also a message for you. So getting back to what I was saying in terms of my career path or whatnot, I was working as a registered nurse for quite a number of years. I had many children within a marriage. I had 5 children with a man that I was married to, and 1 with a man that I had been with prior for multiple years, okay? But I had a really rough marriage, and around 4 years ago, I had one of my daughters went through some health issues. She ended up being diagnosed with brain cancer. This was around the time that I had began to awaken to my, to spirituality. I was starting to take the path. I had created my altar. I was starting to learn about energy, metaphysics, and all of these different things, wearing crystals and all of these different things, but I was still a babe in it, right? And so, I was in this energy right before she had gotten diagnosed. So when it happened, the Most High had already begun preparing me with knowing that your thoughts create things. And so I was able to walk through, and we was able to get through that particular season of our life with me knowing, I had to know that she was going to be well. I had to know that she was going to be healed. And today she is healed. She's been healed for quite some time now, has the most energy, okay? No medications, no nothing. She is 100% healthy, okay? And I give all thanks and praise to the Most High God. But during that time, I had so many different situations that was coming at me and my family. And I ended up dealing with DCFS because when she got diagnosed, myself and my husband at the time, we did not want her to go through treatments. And so we was saying, okay, we want her to take the holistic approach. And the hospital, they ended up calling DCFS as a result of us saying we wanted to take a different approach. And we ended up going through the court systems there. It was a mess, nothing short of a mess. And so we battled with that for over about a year, okay? Finally got those monkeys up off of our back, because that's exactly what they are, some monkeys and some clowns, okay? And so once that was over with, the Most High started showing me like, hey, I need you to awaken to the purpose that I have for you. I got a mission for you, right? And so while I was working as a nurse, I started saying, I can't just go to work and just be a nurse. I cannot just go to work and just pass medication. I couldn't do it. So good thing I was in a nursing home that was pretty lenient. You see what I'm saying? And so I started taking my cards to work, and I started doing readings on my patients. Okay. And then I also ended up going and, having like, I don't know, some people call it like a sermon. It wasn't no sermon though, but I stood up in front of them around New Year's Eve and, read some biblical text, but brought in the interpretation that was given to me through the Most High God. And it was really taking me out of my shell, but it was also showing me something is shifting within you. Something, it was, the Most High was telling me, I'm changing something within you. I'm preparing you for something. And so I always tell you all, one of the first things that I asked for when I began my spiritual journey was wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Okay. And so, and also to be shown what my purpose was. When I tell you I had to burn out, everything, destructive energy came in when I asked for these things. Okay. Some of you might be wondering why you're going through the things you're going through. So this is why I'm bringing this message to you, because I want y'all to hear full transparency from me so that you can see that there is light that you're walking into. You're coming out of a dark space, but this is part of the season. This is a part of the transformation. It doesn't look the same for everybody though. This is just my personal testimony. And so I ended up taking some losses. Like during that time, my car got repossessed because my daughter was in the hospital. I had to be at her bedside for almost, 2 years. It was about a year and a half that I was at her bedside. And so working was not even something that I could do. And being married at the time, I still had the income coming in from my partner at the time, but that was very shaky. Okay. And so my credit went, okay. I went from 700 and something to out, you might as well say zero. Okay. Lost a lot. And so the great thing though, is that I was still in the energy of gratitude and praise because I knew that things was changing for a reason. So I ended up, and I remember kind of, even when my car got repossessed, y'all, I still remember being in this energy of gratitude and praise. Like there was no point in time that I was angry, upset, or sad. None of that. Okay. But this is the energy that you have to embody in order to overcome, like being the eagle in the eye of the storm. So while those waves is, and that wind is swimming around you, you still maintaining your peace right there in the center. And so I knew the importance of doing that. I knew the importance of maintaining my faith. That's real faith right there. Okay. And so fast forward, I was still having many marital problems. Okay. I've been having marital problems since the beginning, but it was getting worse. And my spouse at the time, things just didn't work. It didn't work. He had to go away for a while. Okay. And when this happened, I ended up having to take all of my children. I did get a car, but it was a regular car. And I'll tell y'all about that in a minute too. This is going to be a long testimony for those of you who wonder. It's going to be a minute. Okay. So stick with me. If you find that just stick with me. So the car that I had, it was literally a 4-door car fitting myself with, 5 of my children at the time, because I had to leave behind my oldest son, which that broke my heart. But I had to do it because I had to relocate from the state that I was in to a completely different state. Now, when this happened, I ended up taking all of my children, one-seater, they all squished in like little sardines in the back. This is the car that I was driving around for over 2 years now. And so I took them from the state that I was in all the way to another state to go and live with some family members. Okay. The family members that I moved in with ended up telling us after a couple of months, hey, the landlord said you got to go. Mind you, this is right after COVID hit. Okay. Listen, this thing gets crazy. This was right after COVID hit. I relocated to another state. My intentions was, okay, I'm going to go here. I'm going to transfer my nurse's license to this new state. I'm going to work, save up my money, and we're going to get a place, and everything is going to be happily ever after, right? Me, myself, and my 5 children until I'm able to get on my feet and get back to my oldest child. And so I get out there. I had no ID. I'm talking about I couldn't find a state ID. I couldn't find a driver's license, drove way out there and had no ID. How did this happen? Only the Most High God, okay? Only my spiritual team. So when I got there, first of all, I couldn't even apply for my nurse's license to be transferred because I had no identification. So I started going through all of these wrangles. I'm talking about I was stressed out. I cried a few times like, well, what am I supposed to do? I have no idea. I kept trying to send back for, to the state that I had just left. Like, okay, can you all, find a way to do this? Because COVID was going on. So all of the offices was closed. It was hard to get in contact with people. This went on literally for over a year that I had no ID.